Member from Burnaby North.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I know that the Premier has a special place in his heart for the students at Gilmore Community School in the Heights in Burnaby North. But I wonder if he is aware of a development that could actually be putting those students at Gilmore School at risk. And I'm talking about increased traffic and increased congestion. Now, Burnaby is uniquely situated between the eastern suburbs and downtown Vancouver. So at rush hour, we have a lot of traffic whipping through there. And so people often contend with that by getting off of Hastings Street and taking shortcuts through the side streets where Gilmore Community School is. And they're in a hurry to get home to their own kids. So I don't blame them for that. But it does put our neighborhoods at risk. And so I'm wondering if the Premier has a plan going forward to relieve congestion and increase the safety of our streets. Thank you.
Premier.
Thank you, Honourable Chair, and I want to thank the member for a question, and also to say that Gilmore Elementary is very close to my heart, because during the last election campaign, we stopped to do an announcement at a home in that area, and I saw a group of kids walking by the bus, and I thought, oh, isn't that nice? There's a group of kids on their way to somewhere, and it turned out they were on their way to the press conference, because they had got wind, the teacher had got wind that the leader of the opposition at that time was coming to make an announcement just around the corner from the school. So they all locked hands and walked around the corner and stood across the street and observed the press conference. And after the press conference was over, they all came rushing across the street to ask their questions. And one of the youngsters from the school was designated to ask the questions. He had his pencil with the eraser forward and his notepad ready to ask questions that were valid and important to the kids of Gilmore Elementary. So I'm grateful to hear Gilmore echoing in the halls of this legislature again. But the specific question that the member asked about is what are we doing to eliminate congestion in the Lower Mainland, in the suburbs of Vancouver? And of course, in the fiscal year 2019-2020, BC Transit will invest $117 million in operating grants, in addition to the estimated $78 million in capital grants right across the province to improve projects that will reduce congestion in communities like that are serviced by BC Transit. But TransLink is building, of course, significant infrastructure to reduce automobile traffic, to reduce the congestion in communities. That means expanding SkyTrain, which of course runs through the member's constituency. That means expanding services out across the Fraser. We're making sure that people have access to public transit. We're building high occupancy vehicle lanes so that we're encouraging people to carpool, encouraging people to use other modes of transportation. I had a good exchange the other day here about, actually it was with the leader of the Green Party and his first round of questions during estimates about passive transportation alternatives, so that communities like the Gilmore area don't have this fear that there's going to be cars racing through, trying to cut corners through the hearts of communities to get back onto the main arteries that move people back and forth within the Lower Mainland. So I thank the member for her interest in this, and she can be comforted that we're making significant investments in public transit through not just BC Transit, but through TransLink and a whole host of other initiatives to keep people safe, to keep people moving, and to reduce our greenhouse gas emissions.